What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to y'all with a quick video. I wanted to let you guys know I got some new merchandise available, not just t-shirt anymore. I got different type of t-shirt, different type of shirts and logos that you can purchase on my spread shirt, and also hoodies now. We have expanded and added more to the channel and more merchandise for the brand. Thanks for supporting. It will be in the description and the links will be in the comment section below. Thanks for helping me and supporting the movement. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis. I'm going to check out the video. What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to y'all with a video. We're going to talk about the top free agents available, top 10 free agents available right now. And honestly, this is not going from best to worst. This is just the top 10 free agents available, where they will go and where I think they will go, and what could possibly happen, whether it's trades or even if it's in a trade in the draft. This is just predicting. So I'm predicting where they will go and where they will sign. And I might tell you how many years depending on the situation of the player. But as we know, the draft is going to change a lot of this. And obviously, as we know, the injuries that just occurred will change a lot of this. First, Kevin Durant got a player option to opt in for $31 million to stay with Golden State. As we all know, Kevin Durant will not be the same. We will not know how he will be a year from now because it's going to take him at least a year. And honestly, if I'm Kevin Durant, I said this in the other video, I'm staying with Golden State. You got Steph Curry for sure locked up for a couple more years. And it looks like Klay, he will be back next year because he got injured in the summertime. He should be available later in the season. I don't know if they'll be in the playoff race, but if they is, he might even play in the playoffs, depending on if they make the playoffs. But we really don't know what they're going to do with the roster. But going off hypothetical, Kevin Durant, I think he's definitely staying in Golden State. It seems like this is his home. This is where he wants to be. And when you look at the talent, if they can retain Klay and they already have Steph, and depending on what happened with Draymond Green, he'll be a free agent too next year. I think this is going to be the best chance for him to get back up. If you go to New York, I have to see what they do with their roster, but I don't really think with the talent they have right now, they can make a legitimate push for him to take that team serious. And they got a lot of young talent, and they got a top 3 pick. So I think they still go young. If I'm a free agent, I don't want to go to the Knicks. And the only person I heard that will go to the Knicks is KD. And KD is going to be gone this whole entire year regardless of what happens. Which means if I'm going to a young team and I got to carry the load and I don't even know how well I will be playing, last thing I'm trying to do is that. And you just came off 3 straight finals with Golden State. Y'all looked unbeatable. Y'all definitely would have beat Toronto if healthy. And they proved that in Game 6, and they proved that throughout the series. I definitely think that that's the best place for him. But we won't know how Klay will be. We don't know how KD will be. But they should be still a competitive team if they can get both of those guys to resign. If I'm KD, I'm going to agree with Brian Windhorst and opt out because now he can get a longer-term deal if he really wants to be in Golden State. Like I said, the main reason why I don't believe he's going to New York is, 1, they're too young. 2, you don't have no other player that can really carry that team. And even if you bad, you get a lottery pick, but who can really change the way Kevin Durant feels and not know how he's going to be? And Golden State will be competitive even a year from now with Steph and Klay and KD. That's a guarantee, even if KD ain't fully healthy. But his game is more skill based. It's not really based all the way off of athleticism. It's just based off shooting and sizing up opponents. His post game would be fine. His mid range would be fine. His spot up shooting would be fine. And that made Golden State competitive, and he'd have help to carry the load as he recover and get back into a better form, even though he's never going to be the same KD. Kawhi Leonard, I think this is the toughest one. You can basically say that he's the best free agent since KD went down with the Achilles injury. He's probably the best free agent available. I don't know what he's going to do. I really don't. I doubt he stay in Toronto, but do I really see him going to the Clippers? The Clippers are a little younger, and they have some upside. The Raptors are a little bit more of a veteran team, and they in the East. They struggled to get past the Sixers. They went down 0-2 against the Bucks. So I think it's going to be tough, but either way, if you go to the West, now with LeBron and AD, and you got Houston trying to blow things up, he's going to have to really go to a team with another star if he really wants to increase his chances of winning a championship. He had an all-star this year in Kyle Lowry. He played big in the finals. But he's going to need more than that if he wants to repeat as a champion with or without the Raptors. If I had to put my money where my mouth is and guess where Kawhi Leonard would stay, I would probably say he's going to the Clippers. They got Jerry West. They got Doc Rivers, a coach that won a championship, a player that won a championship as a player, understands Kawhi because he wanted to quit. He wanted to give up. He did some controversial things. And on top of that, that's where he wants to live. And on top of that, they're moving away from the Lakers um, stadium, which means he'll have his own home and they can build their own legacy there. I wish they would have went to Las Vegas instead of moving around in that the California. They should have went to Vegas to me, but they don't really have a stadium big enough for basketball, the NBA caliber, so I understand that. But when I'm looking at Kawhi Leonard, you get the lifestyle, you got talent, you got a coach that knows how to win, and you get a GM and a guy that knows how to put talent together. He put that Lakers team together, got Shaq and Kobe. He was able to put this help with the Golden State team, and he builds dynasties, and that's what Jerry West does, and I don't see no other way he wouldn't. If I was a player, I wouldn't go to the Clippers. But when I look at their style, when I look at their D, when I look at them contracts, and I look at the fact that they can get another guy with Kawhi Leonard, either through trade or through buying through free agency, I think the Clippers will be the place he goes. And that's a place that never won a championship either, just like Toronto. He'd be the first player to do that. Kyrie Irving, I wish he would have stayed with the Celtics. He didn't have the best season. I know Kyrie personally, and I don't really know where he's going to go, but they saying Brooklyn. And if he goes to Brooklyn, that's close to home, he can dominate in Brooklyn. It just, can he have that other guy that can help him win the title? You don't want to just go to Brooklyn and just put up numbers. We know Kyrie is one of the top 15 players in the world. We know that he has been efficient and dominant these last two seasons with and without LeBron. The problem is if you go into Brooklyn, I got to see what else they do, because I'm not just going to go to Brooklyn like Boston and put up numbers and just get put out in the playoffs. I could do that in Boston. They got a better team and a better future than Brooklyn, and they got the wings. But if I had to be honest, I think he goes to Brooklyn because that's where he wants to go. That's where he wants to be at, and that's his choice. But I think he does sign a 4-year deal with them. I think he gets max dollars. It's just about what they do with that other max slot since KD is gone. Who can they get to help out Kyrie and give them a chance to win a legitimate championship in Brooklyn? That's something I don't know. But what I do know, he really wants to go to Brooklyn. They're going to be a competitive team with or without him. And honestly, I just want to know who's going to join him in Brooklyn to help him out. Jimmy Butler, I think he stays in Philly. Philly really showed that they wanted him. They traded a lot of young talent like Dario Saric. They traded one of the most valuable pieces, which is a two-way player, and Robert Covington, a guy that can shoot the three and guard multiple positions. That's something that's tough to find, but that's giving up two quality players that did fit this team. Jimmy Butler played amazing for them in the playoffs and got them close to going to the Eastern Conference Finals, something that they haven't done with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. I think they want him. They willing to give him the max, even though he's 30. But if you got a team with this type of talent and the type of upside they have, and you have a GM that's willing to do what it takes to win a title, and Elton Brand proving that, doing the type of Tobias Harris trade, getting Boban, getting Jonathan Simmons, getting James Ennis, he showed that he was willing to put as much talent and effort to get this team to be the best that they can be. That's the type of situation I want. You playing with two other All-Stars, an All-NBA player in Joel Embiid, a great defender in Ben Simmons, and a great defender in Joel Embiid. You just need to improve the shooting and the floor spacing. If they can do that and figure that out, plus Joel and Ben Simmons get better, that's going to be a team that's going to be a force to reckon with multiple years. If you sign in a 4 or 5 year deal with Philly, you should feel very good at 30 having those two guys behind you, plus having a GM that's willing to do what it takes to get you to enough talent to win a title. Klay Thompson, I think this is easy. He's going to get the max from Golden State. Him and Steph, I don't think it's an NBA without him and Steph. Like, when I think about Klay Thompson, I think about Steph. And when I think about Steph, I think about Klay Thompson. They the Splash Brothers. They won a title with and without Durant. They've been together. They complement each other. They was fighting. Even though they lost to the Raptors, they was going down with a swinging in Game 6. And they play well together. They complement each other. And Klay has benefited playing with Steph. And if he can play like he played in the playoffs, coming off that Achilles, they're gonna be a dangerous team even next year, depending how long it takes Clay to come back. And if they don't do much next year, they would 2 years from now still be a competitive team because they can shoot that ball and they got a game that can last multiple years. They don't base it off athleticism; they base it off skill, just like KD. And if they can get KD back to resign or even opt in, they're going to be a scary team. You've seen how much effort it took for Toronto to down them, and they still only lost by 4 points with Clay not even playing the rest of the game and KD not even playing in that game. This is the best team in basketball, and even with these injuries, they still in that discussion. Just to be honest, when you look at Kristaps Porzingis, he's going to be restricted. I think Dallas is definitely going to match any offer, and if that's the case, he's going to stay in Dallas. If he goes and do the if he tries to take the qualifying offer, then they're going to be screwed because then he'd be able to become an unrestricted free agent and go wherever he wants to. But when I look at Mark Cuban, a winner, a guy that has won a championship, has a coach that can coach his ass off and put players in the right position and make them look better than they really are, and Rick Carlisle, plus you have a superstar in the making in Luka Doncic, the rookie of the year, and he played on an all-star level, giving you 21, 7, and 6 as a rookie. Just imagine what he's going to do in the future, and when he has a talent like Porzingis around him, it's going to be even tougher because they both can shoot and space the floor, plus Porzingis is a rim protector at the same time. They got scary upside, but they need some more pieces to fill around that roster, but the biggest piece is Porzingis, and with him getting a max offer sheet or not, he's staying in Dallas because I don't see a way you trade away all that young talent and players to get a guy that's going to walk away and you get nothing. So I definitely think that he's going to be restricted. Him and Mark Cuban are going to find a deal that benefits both. Even if you got to overpay a little bit, you need somebody to help Doncic out. And Porzingis missed a whole year, so he should be ready at the start of the season to show why he was an all-star before going down with the injury. Towns is for sure. We already know he got his contract extended already, so he's definitely going to be off the market. DeMarcus Cousins, I think this is an interesting guy because he played good enough in the finals. He still looked like he don't have the explosion. He struggled to finish, but trust me, he can still play an impact winning. Because when I'm looking at DeMarcus Cousins, he still was able to give you rebounds. He still can pass. He still can shoot good enough. He's not a great shooter, but you got to think about it. DeMarcus Cousins is done with basketball until October and September. He has a lot more time to work on his body. He has a lot more time to get more healthier, and he has a lot more time. I think the thing about DeMarcus Cousins, if I had to be honest, is the people around him. He needs to go to a team that has players that can make his job easier. He's never going to be the same DeMarcus. He doesn't look as physically dominant. He doesn't look as strong as he used to. He doesn't have the explosion and the quick leaps no more. But he's a guy that can still give you 15 to 18 to even 20 points depending on how many touches and what team you have around him. This is a guy that can get offensive rebounds, putbacks. He can get to the free throw line. He can dive to the rim still. He can still knock down mid-range. He can still knock down a couple threes. And that's easily a couple points right there. So DeMarcus Cousins, is he a max player? No. But he's still a player that I would value going into free agency. If I can't get the other guys, DeMarcus Cousins is a guy that I want. Even if it's the Warriors. Because they're going to need somebody to fill in Clay and KD. And like I said, DeMarcus Cousins isn't a max player right now. So if they can work on a $5 to $10 million deal to keep DeMarcus Cousins in there, even if it's a one deal or a deal with a team option or a player option for the next year, I think the Warriors honestly should prioritize re-signing DeMarcus. He showed you in the regular season and in the playoffs, he still can play. But you're going to need somebody to help Steph and Draymond out to still make the playoffs. And I think DeMarcus Cousins can help you win 48 to 50 games with Steph. You know we're going to have to see a crazy Steph, MVP Steph, for them to make it to the playoffs. And we might have to see a re-energized Draymond Green. But they up for the challenge. They winners, they warriors, they fighters. And I think DeMarcus Cousins, if I really want to prolong my career, I can no longer be the man. That's something that he has to admit and has to accept at this point. And if he does, even if he don't sign with the Warriors, I got to go to a team where I can be a complimentary player. His days of being a man is over. But at the same time, that doesn't mean you can't be the second, third, or a fourth option on a great team. Hell, he accepted being the fifth option on this year's team. So as long as he got that mentality that he can get better, that he can keep improving, which he has done, that's how he got to this point in his career to where he could make the Hall of Fame. I think Golden State will be perfect for him because they're going to need his talent, his rebound, his scoring ability, and they're going to have the talent to make his job a lot easier. And we could possibly see him make an All-Star team in the East or the West, depending on what team. But if I'm DeMarcus Cousins, I'm trying to be a third or a fourth option on a good team that can make it to the playoffs. But if he got $5 million this year, Golden State can offer him around 5 to 10 million and bring him back. And they do have his birds rights since he was a free agent for him this year and he was on the team for a whole year. So they can give him the most years and they can go into the cap to re-sign him. And I think that should be their goal. Al Horford, I think for sure he's going to stay with Boston. You got a $30 million player option. That's your Al Horford is not going to make $30 million anymore. He wasn't even an All Star this year. But if I'm Danny Ainge, I don't mind playing Al Horford $30 million, especially if we're going to lose Kyrie, because you're going to have to find somebody that can fill in gaps and play and keep the leadership going. Al Horford is a winner. He's a leader, and he's a perfect complementary player to a lot of teams. You can argue he's a Draymond Green. He's going to rebound. He's going to defend. He's going to score when he has to, and he's going to keep the teammates involved and keep the ball moving and expect his teammates to do that. But for him to have that type of player option, is no way in hell he turning down $30 million unless he want long-term security, which Boston can give him the longest term because they can give him the fifth year. So I see Al Horford staying in Boston with or without opting in. Kemba Walker, this is the hardest one because Kemba Walker, he's a guy that we want to see win. He's a guy that a lot of players feel if they can get him and they got this, they can win with it. Some people said that he might go to the Lakers. I just feel like his heart and soul is in Charlotte. I want him to leave. I want him to go to a different team, but they can offer him the most years. They can offer him the most money. And they shown trading for Nicholas Batum, Dwight Howard, and other guys like Al Jefferson that they willing to do what they can to put some talent around Kemba. They haven't been able to do well in the draft. That really hurted them. Their player development and they drafting hurted the growth of this team because they could have been a lot better if their draft picks was hits or even developed into something better. That has been the biggest thing as an organization, drafting and development. Obviously, you can argue Kemba is totally different than he was when he first came in. He worked hard, he developed, but that's one person that you can really vouch for out of this whole 10-year span that they had him. I think he stays in Charlotte. This is his home. He's the best ever, and he has a chance to build a legacy even bigger than it is right now. Personally, I want him to leave. If he go to LA, that'll put him in instant title contention. I don't think they'd be the favorites with Kemba, but it will put them up there as one of the top 5 teams that can win the title. Honestly and truthfully, I want him to win. I want him to leave, but it feels like he really wants to stay in Charlotte. The way he talks, the way he feels, and the fact they can give him the longest security and the most money is going to be hard for him to leave and be persuaded to leave Charlotte, even if it's for his best, to me, interest is to leave. Chris Middleton, he's definitely going to stay in Milwaukee. I don't see a way that you lose a player. It's hard to get players to come to Milwaukee. It's hard to get them to commit long term. I feel like Chris Middleton played at an all-star level. The last 2 years, he destroyed my Celtics in the playoffs, even though they lost last year to us. This year, they beat us. They made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. They was up 2-0, and you want to build upon that. The problem is they paid Eric Bledsoe $70 million, and then they still got to pay Malcolm Brogdon, and they already paid Giannis. It's going to be tough to find somebody better than Middleton. And if you can't find nobody better, you're better off keeping them. And if you're better off keeping them, you're going to have to pay him. You can offer him the most money. You got a huge upside because we don't know how Brogdon has improved and he's healthy going into next year. Giannis has improved every single season. And I feel like Middleton, he needs to be a little bit more aggressive. He needs to look for his shot a lot more. And if he does that, the Bucks can be a very tough team to beat as we've seen this year. But people are not going to be surprised. People are going to be prepared because they have seen the Bucks this whole year and they're going to be ready for them. It's not going to be a surprise like it was this year for them. But they're going to be ready. And Mike Budenholzer is going to assure that. But Mike Budenholzer fell short in Atlanta and he fell short this year against the Raptors. There's going to be time for redemption. And I feel like they're not done yet. They're not finished yet in Milwaukee. And I do expect Chris Middleton to get near or close to the max, or he might just get the max because he is an all-star caliber player. Only problem is he's not an all-NBA player. So I honestly wouldn't offer him the max. If you can get him to take a little less, and you can get Brogdon to take a little less, maybe you can use that to get another piece to make them the favorites in the East like they was this year. Only difference is you got to continue to grow, continue to improve, because you can't bring the same team back and expect the same results. Different players, different season, different organization, different teams. It's not a guarantee they're going to make it back to the Eastern Conference Finals and be the number one team in the NBA. Hell, nobody even expected them to be in the Eastern Conference Finals or even a 60-win team going into this season. So it shows you how hard it is to really do it, especially repeat it. Mike Budenholzer won 66 games, I believe, with the Hawks. The next couple years, they didn't come close to that after that season. So let's be realistic about that. And we got to keep it real. Chris Middleton didn't get All-NBA selection. He's one of the top 30, top 40 players. That's not max money to me. If he can get 20 to 25 million, that's fair. But I don't think more than that is a little overpay. And I can cover the rest of the guys in the next video. This video is a little bit too long, and I'm gone. Check out my Facebook page, analysisplayground.com. Link in the description, comment section below. Check out my website, analysisplayground.com. Link in the description, comment section below. Thanks for everybody that likes on Facebook. Thanks for everybody that likes the videos. Thanks for everybody that comments. I like the activity that you guys have shown. I answered comments that make sense, if that makes sense. And also, at the end of the day, if you like this video, check out my older videos on my channel. I have many playlists. I break down rookies. I break down players. I break down summer league. I do cover the draft, and I got a mock draft up already. Not only that, I do podcasts, and I also talk about the game of basketball, whether it comes to summer league, free agency, trade deadline, buyouts, and also I cover top 10 discussions and stuff like that. So you like this type of video, you like the NBA, check out my older videos and my playlists. I enjoy making these videos. You guys enjoy watching. I'm gone.